So we made these picture frames, and now we need to make a rabbit to accept some sort of panel. There's all kinds of different ways you can make a rabbit, and first I want to show you the most simple form on a straight edge. So R for rectangle, and you know what? This is a piece of plywood. So P for push-pull, the dimensions really doesn't matter, so 0.75 inches, enter. And on this back side right here, I want to make a rabbit. So there's a couple ways to accomplish the exact same thing. You can T for tape measure, and select my edge, drag this direction, and I want to go 0.5 inches or whatever my dimensions of the rabbit is. Enter. This gives me a guideline that I can trace. L for line from this intersection up to this intersection. P for push-pull, and I can push this little piece down, say 0.25 inches or whatever the rabbit is. Space bar, delete my guideline, and there you go. That's a rabbit. That's the most simple form of making a rabbit. Control Z to back up real quick. And there's an even simpler way to make that exact same line. You can select your line, M for move, and if you do not make a copy, this is what's going to happen. See, it's just going to make some crazy geometry here. So let me hit escape. M for move. Control brings up copy, and I'm just going to click and drag in the direction that I want, and say 0.5 inches on the keyboard, enter, space bar, and I can P for push-pull, select my little rabbit, and whatever the dimensions of my rabbit is, 0.25 inches, enter. So a couple different ways to accomplish the exact same thing. Select all that and delete it. But what about when we have somewhat of complex joinery already together? So simplest way to make a rabbit in a panel or something like this is to use the offset command to make guidelines. And what I mean by that is R for rectangle, and I'm just going to draw in space here. F for offset, select this line, and we want to be on the outside. Let's make a 3/8 of an inch rabbit, so 0.375 inches, enter. Now this may get confusing, but let's click the first face in the middle. Let's see, double click and then press delete, single click and then press delete. That deleted all my faces that I just made, but left me with these guidelines. So now I can edit this part, and I have this reference face here, so L for line from here, or reference line I should say, from here to here. P for push-pull, let's push this down 0.25 inches, enter. And remember there's copies, so it updated right there. Spacebar, click on the outside. Let's edit one of these parts, L for line, and draw on our little reference guideline that we created. P for push-pull, and I can push it down. And whatever your measurement is, you can also say go to the same height as this. Spacebar and click out. So there you go. I made a little rabbit on all of my pieces really quick. But don't forget that we drew a rectangle on this outside, so we have to manually go back and delete that rectangle unless we just don't care of leaving it in our project. Alright, same thing on this one. Let's do it again. R for rectangle from this corner down to this corner. It created a face for me, so F for offset. On the outside, let's go, excuse me, 0.375 inches, enter. Let's double click the first one, delete, single click the second one so we do not select the outside, and delete. Now we are just left with our reference edges again, reference lines. Let's double click to edit this part, L for line, and watch the way that this is updated real quick. If we go from here to here, P for push-pull, and let's push this down 0.25 inches, enter. Well, it updated my part, but it's on the wrong side up there, and the reason being is we made the copies in a different fashion in which we made it up here. This one we rotated, so it changed the orientation already. This one did not. We just simply set one side by side. So let's right click and say flip it along the, I think it's green in this case, which it is. Because we pushed it along the green axis, we need to flip it along the green axis. So now I have my nice rabbit on the inside. We're going to have to do the same thing with this piece. We pushed it along the red, so we're going to have to flip it along the red in just a second. Let's double click this, and let's use R for rectangle to trace out this boundary area of my rabbit. P for push pull, and I can push this down, and remember we just need to reference off of the rabbit we already made. Spacebar, click to exit the part. And this right here, don't get confused, that's just my guideline from earlier. But like I said, the rabbit's on the right side, the rabbit's on the right side. So we need to right click, flip it along the red. Now the rabbit is on the inside. We can select our, we can triple click our little rectangle we made earlier to select all of that. Delete it, and now we have a nice rabbit on the inside of both of our picture frames.